Hi friends, MD Vegan. Today is my gentle juice fasting day. I do that once a week. And it is an amazing opportunity to reboot the system, as we say. It's gentle because you do it without pushing, without violence, according to the non-violent lifestyle, also known as living in the flow. That means without anything that is not needed, not necessary. You leave it away. Yeah, you can, but you can also leave it away easily. So then you have less resistance. It flows like in the water. It's a wonderful way of life, and it's a vegan way of life, of course. Yeah, don't need to harm animals or anybody else to be happy and to have the most success. Ideally, of course. Sometimes, who knows. But on this fasting day, I only drink juices, and I say it is a reboot because digestion, where most of the energy from the food we eat on a regular day is needed for, so 60% or so from all the energy is just needed for digestion. It's very important. Also, the main part of our immune system, our resilience is in the intestines. So this is a very important part. Keeps everything together. And when we rest it, when you let it pause for a whole day, and the night before and after, that's even more than almost 2 days. You sum it up. That is a really reboot the system. It's 1 day and a night, and it's very effective. I do that once a week. It's a regular part of my diet. It's not just something I do once in a while. It's a regular part. I do it every week. I know we had a dog when I was little, a big dog, and he was always, had a one fasting day a week, and it was the best. And when you look at the history of mankind, we usually had long fasting periods and then periods when we ate a lot. Animals do that also still in winter time. They have to be fed so they can sleep and digest everything and have enough energy, and then they lose all the weight again. But that is a regular thing, and that we eat every day is a modern thing. Since we have modern industrialized societies, we have always food at hand, and that was only the smallest part of our history. So fasting is in all cultures. It is ritualized also. It is religiously overloaded and many things, but it is medically explored a little bit too, and it's a cleansing mechanism too. This is a very good thing to do, and I did it earlier on. I did it long periods of time and radical just water, or tried even without that, dry fasting or so. That's all nice and all good, but the longer I did it, the long periods of time, the more intense it gets, and it gets me to the brink, to the maximum, and then there is a bouncing back effect, and it's very difficult to keep a steady rise in my energy levels throughout my life. That's very difficult if I go so extreme. So meanwhile, began with practicing yoga. Yoga lifestyle in general is more the moderate way of living. I think it's more successful. And my father was the extreme opposite. He was an extreme. He loved to live fast and intense. And he said, I don't care if I die early, but I have lived fast. And yes, I understood. And I thought about it early on. And I thought, if I live moderately, I can reach higher and higher in my energy level. That's how I would express it today in terms of energy. I didn't do that when I was not a yogi, but we think in terms of energy, the yogis, and consciousness and awareness. That's the main thing we think about. And a constant way of life is more energetic in the end than short up and down. So I can gain more in this way of life. And it's the same translate into the fasting method. A gentle way of fasting, 1 day a week over decades or so, is much more effective than fasting longer periods and maybe 3 times or 4 times a year when the seasons change, and I did that before. So this is the best way of fasting. I think it's more effective, and anything else I met so far on the long run And it is also viable for everybody, because one day fasting only, you don't even need to go to see a doctor or a medical supervisor, medical practitioner, for a professional for making sure that nothing happens adverse to the body, to the health. Because with one day, without food, there is no problem if you are healthy. Nothing happens to you. That is medical science. But when you do it longer, it can become dangerous. Small things in the inner organs you don't feel immediately, and so on. So with longer fasting, you need to be sure a medical professional on your side to oversee that. It's a general rule, of course. Everybody can do what they want, but that is a suggestion. That is what the health official suggest. One day is easy, so that's for everyone, I would say, when you're healthy. So it's a wonderful way for me to do that. And on a fasting day, when I make my pause, of course, I'm very active. It's just the digestion that pauses. On myself, I do everything what I do before, without fasting. And I feel even more creative, because the cleansing can be intense. But when the cleansing, the groundwork is done, and the certain level of cleanliness is there in the body and the mind, clarity of mind, relaxed body, and so with the regular practice, then it's more effective, and the focus is more on creativity. So I still keep on cleansing all the time. I brush my teeth all the time and so on. I do that all the time, but still the certain level of health is there, and then it's more about creativity. So that is for me expanding awareness, being creative, meditative mind, and so on. That's the thing I focus on longer in the fasting after years and years. So that's why it's a lot of fun. And to make it really nice and delightful, these juices I always make, we call it gentle juice fasting, because we make these fresh juices. They are delicious, and I can also explore the ingredients, how they really play together, how they affect my body and my mind, and so on. So I have today a green juice, and I have 3 greens put together that I not so often use together. It's a kale juice, basically. That's the main ingredient. Here, a kale. I have some leaves of this most powerful leafy green. It's the most nutrition-dense vegetable we have at all. Of all the others, there's no other food has so many different and so many nutrients as kale. And then I add a cucumber. That is pretty much water only, and some wonderful nutrients from the green and from the fiber. But fiber is out of the juice. Mostly fiber is out. That's why the digestion rests. So the greens and the cucumber, they make the skin beautiful, and so refreshing, wonderful. And they're also, all the greens are a little bit bitter. So that's why green juice is not so easy to make. To make it delicious, you need balance, and that is a fruit. But before I come to the fruit part, the delicious part, I have the third green part. That is a celery stalks. And I have 3 celery stalks here. And usually when I make put celery into a juice, I use it to season the juice more. Like in traditional cooking, celery is oftentimes used to make a soup more grounded, more tasty. It has a little bit salty flavor, and so the celery has also a saltiness in itself, not being salt, not table salt, but another kind of salt that tastes a little bit salty in a gentle way. So that's a nice flavor adding to the other ingredients. But I can't use too much of the celery. Some people like a lot of celery. I don't. It tastes a little bit strange to me, but that's only me. But in general, that's why I use only a small amount of celery stalks. And 2 stalks is for regular juice, and this is with 3 because I can afford a little bit more in this recipe, because I have these powerful greens. They're very strong in the flavor. And I have 2 large pears and 2 medium-ish large apples here. So that's a lot of fruit here. You see, same amount, about 2 large each, pears and apples. And they can balance the bitter flavors. That's a classic. Apples and pears for green juices to balance. The pear is a little bit sweeter. That's more for The kale is stronger in flavor, and the pear is needed for kale. I like that a lot. Oftentimes in kale juices, the pear gives the sweetness that's required. And the apple, more sour sweet, more balanced. That is something I use classically with a cucumber celery juice. So the easiest cucumber juice I do is cucumber, celery, a little bit, and apple. That's a very easy cucumber juice, very rich also. But that is here the juice I have at base, and the other base is the kale pear juice. You can also always add an apple to the kale juice with a pear. But these two juices basically are combined in this juice. So, and to boost it all, to give it all a little bit more intensity and gravity, I add lemon and ginger. This is a pairing I add to many recipes. They are wonderfully balanced to make other recipes more delicious. That's very nice. And maybe I have something here from the peel of the lemon. The yellow color from the lemon is the essential nutrients of the lemon are in the peel and the yellow color. But they are very intense. The etheric oils, they can evaporate. They are in the yellow color, and they are very intense. And when you take too much, the whole juice doesn't taste anymore. Especially with greens, where you have something bitter anyway. So adding more lemon peel to that could be too much. In other juices, I take more lemon peel, but I'll see how much I can take. And so it's 1 lemon without the peel, and add a little bit of peel. And I have maybe that's 3 or 4 inches of ginger root. Yeah. So I show you the amount again. Yeah. That's my regular amount, 2, 3, or 4 if you want more. 4 inches of ginger root is for one juice, about a liter usually, is the right amount to me. It's a medium amount, not too much ginger, not too much lemon. Together with the sweet fruit, it's a nice balance, and it makes the green juices really delicious. And the green juices generally are the cleansing juices and the refreshing and cleansing effect. Red juices to me, like beet, they are also nutritious, but they add also so endurance and power to like a meal more. Starting a day or so can be nice with beet juice to give me a grounding. But the green juice is more cleansing and refreshing, I would say. All the colors have their differences. Their little substances differences. So now I will juice it in my juicer and come back in a moment to show you what it tastes like, if I can. My juice is done, and in between, halfway through the juicing process, I tasted a little bit and found I can use the whole lemon peel, so it's all in there now. And I have a little bit more than a liter, that's a liter about. I have 0.2 in addition to that, so it's a larger juice than usually. So one more reason I could use the whole lemon, because I had also these 2 fruit, and it seems to be a very delicious juice. I already tasted it in the halftime, but now I'll taste the final. And it was a very powerful one when I got a little flavor. But that's because I have 3 different greens in here. It is such a rich combination, 3 different greens. I'll tell you more about it a little bit later. Just taste it now. The color is beautiful. It's a wonderful broken green, light. It's a nice texture. It's not too thick, not too thin, too runny. The pear usually makes it thicker. The cucumber makes it very runny, of course. So depends on the ingredient. This is a nice medium texture. I like it. But the most important now, what does it taste like? Let's see. Oh yeah. I can taste it, this cooling, refreshing inside. Very energetic, not cooling the temperature down, but the freshness is so nice. It's actually it's bringing me heat, energy through these vibrant greens here. And I can taste the lemon peel. It's the maximum. I wouldn't take more. But it's okay with 1 lemon. All in all, it's a wonderful juice. And these many greens, these three, it's many for me. I can do that because I begin with small numbers of ingredients. I make a juice, for example, just a cucumber juice with the apple and the celery stalk, not too much. And I know, until I know how to make a delicious juice from that. And or kale juice, I make a very easy kale juice. This kale, apple, pear, that's it. Yeah. And then I know these juices, I try to bring them together. Apple, celery, kale, cucumber and celery together. And now I have a next combination, yeah, with three greens. And the more plants you put in, the more complex the recipe becomes. So more, of course, there is a variety of nutrients. And the variety of nutrients, yeah, they all play together. They have a very great role in our health. You know, there's a study I remember from some time ago I read when the indigenous people in America, yeah, were pushed away from their home countries, and the settlers came to America and changed the whole nature, the country. They found out that, in hindsight, they lost many plants, yeah, because the indigenous people, they said in this study, they eat 2,000 or 3,000 different plants every year, every single one of them. Whereas we today, in the industrialized countries, we eat maybe 30, 40, 50 when it's high, different plants. So 3,000 to 40, 50 or so, that's a huge difference in variety. And the new science called synergy, food synergy, finds out, they try to find out how the ingredients and the nutrients play together in the food combining. That's technically what a chef does, a cook, a chef, what do they do? They combine the ingredients and to make something more than every single one of them together. Yeah, to create something new that is more than its parts. Yeah, that's cooking to me. Yeah? Why would you cook something that is better as is? Yeah, makes no sense, right? Somehow. So, food combining is the big topic, but more in a positive way. You know, which ingredients support each other. Because from the medical standpoint, we can eat everything together without any problem. If you're a healthy body, you can digest everything together. Yeah, there's no problem. We have 3 macronutrients. All our food is made of that. That is carbohydrates, mainly in fruit, and then we have fat and protein. That's the 3, carbohydrates, fat and protein. So complex sugars, simple sugars, fat and protein. These are the 3. And we have, for each of these macronutrients, we have a different enzyme to digest it, to break it down. And all these 3 enzymes are released from the body, in the body, at the same time when we eat. So technically, we are made to digest everything together. It would be very complicated if we couldn't do that. That's our nature. So if you're healthy, you can digest everything together. That's not the problem. I know a lot of food combining that addresses this problem, and they don't get it. Yeah, that's something later science found out now. So we know that now. That there's no problem with that. At first they didn't know that. But food combining I'm talking about is, for example, yeah, how the cucumber and the celery and the kale, how they play together, what they do to me. And I know the more I combine, the healthier it is. But not in every single recipe, of course. I need to begin with small numbers of ingredients, because otherwise I wouldn't know how to make a recipe at all. Yeah? To make a recipe, I need to know the ingredients and how they play together. Yeah? And if I begin with 10 or 15 ingredients, I find a recipe with 20 ingredients, I can make it, I'm very happy if it works, and then I don't know how that has been created. That was my whole life. I was cooking. I loved cooking. I had 10 recipes from somewhere, somehow. I got these recipes, mom or a friend or so. I got these recipes, and I was happy, and everybody could eat it, and everybody liked it. I was a great chef. They loved my cooking. Yeah, but I had no idea how the recipes were made. So I basically made always the same food. Then some changes over time, a little bit here, there, but the change of recipes were little. And since I do these recipes here, every day a new recipe, the whole thing changed. Because I went vegan, I went more into raw food, because that's so easy to start a new thing, to explore the endless vegan variety. I found that there are so many recipes I could make I never even thought about before. And the juices here are the easiest way to start, maybe because it's a day where I have a greater sensitivity. The senses are so awake on a fasting day, the digestion rests. No energy is needed for that. All the energy goes into the senses, into the awareness, and so that's very good for the creativity. And then I can feel the ingredients and begin very slowly. But of course, after time, the recipes get more complex. Of course, I make recipes with many ingredients, but to begin, I begin with a small number, usually. Or I have a complex recipe from a friend or so, from a chef, I know, and I analyze that recipe. I go down from the top. I have maybe 20, 30 ingredients, and I look, what do we have here? There is an interesting part, there's another interesting pairing in that recipe, and so I deconstruct it. So I can go both ways, but that's with regard to my method. And this recipe is this method of take 3 to begin with small numbers of ingredients and to go more and more into the endless vegan variety to explore everything. That's so important because we know now how important it is for the immune system, for our health, for the mind, also for the brain, and so that we eat a great variety of nutrients of different plants over the year. Tomorrow I will eat again. And then I have a problem that because my body now, today, had less calories than it used to have. So tomorrow the body will try to get more nutrients than it needs. That's a natural reflex. I have to a little bit to be aware tomorrow not overeat. Happens always after fasting. I want to overeat, but I don't want it, of course. But I have to be very careful because I want something, I put it into my mouth and, wait a minute, no, that's too much, don't do that. I have a little discipline to really reap the whole benefits of the fasting day is the next day and even the second day after the fasting, that too, there's a little bit of shadow, echo of this fasting day. So I have to be a little bit more aware, especially later in the day. I want to eat more than I need because my body tries to trick me. So when I learned to trick him back, in my body, So, in my mind, of course, They're very tricky guys. Cool. That's it for today. I think explain a little bit about the juicing, about the fasting, what kind of fasting I like and why, and also how to create new recipes. A little bit beginning with the juicing. That is something I would recommend systematically. That's an easy way. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. This juice definitely is great for me. I love it already because of course I will see what it is like only when I finished it. It takes some time. It's like a meal on a fasting day. Such a juice here takes some time because when I drink it, it goes direct to the bloodstream. No digestion is needed. The fiber is out. This is the fiber. That's not in the juice. It would be in a smoothie, But in a smoothie, in a juice, the fiber is out. That's what we cannot digest. And so without digestion, the nutrients go into the blood immediately. So a lot of sugar in here, and that can cause sugar spikes in the blood, not very good, out of balance. So to avoid that, I just have to drink slowly, sip by sip. Also a little bit of discipline is needed. And then it is like a meal, have a juice, over some time. And I need to drink a certain amount on a fasting day, 4 liters for me, whatever it is, of tea or coffee or water, juices, everything I can drink. Broth maybe, it's soup, also nice, without, because filtered, of course, without the flavor, of course, if it's possible. And if that all is too much, and if I have too intense, if my fasting is too much, I eat a little bit, doesn't matter. Mostly important is that I feel great. I hope you feel great watching it. Thanks for watching, and again, I hope you enjoyed. If you like my video, subscribe to MD Vegan on YouTube. Have another recipe every single day, and find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. And there is one Facebook page I want to mention. It's called Tree Yoga Moon Fasting. Well, Tree Yoga is my yoga style. Comes from Yogini Kaliji, and she told me about the Gentle Juicefasting. So that's why we call that page Tree Yoga Moon Fasting. I post all my juice recipes there. Also, you can find it, go there and join the fasting. See you soon.